as is usual, expect a questions and answers section at the very end of the call. Please use the live chat section to drop in any questions you think of during the call. We'll go over all of them in the end section. But before we dive in, I do need to do some minor housekeeping. So the discussions and opinions expressed here are not intended to provide investment, accounting, tax, or legal advice. Nor are we recommending that you purchase, sell, or hold any security or other investment, or that you pursue any investment style or strategy. Please seek out your own financial and legal advisors for any such advice. I also need to mention that this call is being recorded. So, with that out of the way, I want to thank Alex again for being with us. And the stage is yours, Alex.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for having me in your workshop today. I've been looking forward to this all week. I even posted this on my LinkedIn, so I'm really excited to share with you guys today some Web3 gaming overview and analysis. So, in case you guys haven't heard, my name is Alex Cooper. I'm the kind of the core community manager for North America here at Footprint Analytics. And a little bit about Footprint. We're kind of just your one-stop shop for everything blockchain data, whether it be GameFi, NFTs, tokens, DeFi. We have 25 chains, over 700,000 collections, and over 2,000 plus GameFi games or Web3 gaming games. And what's really sweet is you can actually access this data without having to use any SQL. We have a zero coding option, which is sweet, really great for guys like me who can't code. Um, And going forward here, this just shows you again a little bit about the data that we have, our chains across our collections and marketplaces, and then you can see the chains at the bottom and our marketplaces here as well. Covering these 17 different marketplaces actually gives us about 99% of the NFT trading volume right now, which is pretty sweet. So actually getting into the meat and potatoes of today's content. So today I'm going to talk about why GameFi data analysis is important, whether you're a gamer, an investor, or a dev. We're going to talk about three big metrics to analyze these Web3 games or pay-to-earn games. And then we're going to do a bit of a product overview, some cool dashboards and how-to, and then the Q&A. And also on this list, we're going to do a DeFi Kingdoms deep dive as well. I got some really cool data from the team to share with you guys about this. So going forward, let's get it started. So why GameFi data analysis is important. Three main things, right? It helps you improve decision making, enhance your player experience, and of course increase revenue and profitability. So whether you're a player, an investor, researcher, or game dev, analysis is always super important. So if you're a player, it helps you get those deeper insights, and then you can track your performance. Investors can evaluate the profitability of a project, as well as track their investments. For researchers, this kind of studies the behavior dynamics of an ecosystem while also identifying trends and patterns. Now, for a game dev, it's pretty cool. It can help improve design functionality, optimize the gameplay experience for users, and of course, again, identify new trends and innovations. So let's get into the actual metrics themselves. So first thing I always like to start off with is users. I like to check at new users. So what is a new user? A new user is a wallet that interacts with the protocol for the first time. Um, and why is it important to check the new users? Because I just want to see how many new people they're bringing in, right? Especially when we check in a new user percentage. If it's under a percent of your new users coming in a day, it doesn't really seem that healthy for me. And this is kind of a crazy stat, but based on our data as well, about 90% of these games they go inactive within the first 30 days. So I guess if you're a game dev out there, my best advice for you right now is to try to get your game to last 2 months. Then you'll be in the top 10%. So going forward from new users, I like to also compare that with daily users. So daily users are the addresses that interact with the protocol every day, including new users as well, right? And this will help reflect the popularity of the game, and it's also the key to a healthy GameFi ecosystem, right? Seeing how many users there are a day, and then looking at the daily users and the new users, we can get a new user trend or new user percentage. Um, and I like new user percentage because if you're getting on average 1 or 2% new users a day, that's not the best in my opinion. Lost my mouse here. And then looking at users as well, it's pretty sweet because at Footprint you can actually do a game ranking comparison based on, say, new users, total users, active users, or new user percentage. So there's a bunch of different ways you can rank games at Footprint based on what matters for you or what you're looking for. And you can see the example right here. Next, now this is truthfully, this is my absolute favorite metric of all time, especially for Web3 gaming, user retention rate. Why do I like retention rates so much? Well, because looking at retention, I could just tell how fun a game is without having to actually play the game, without having to get a new wallet set up, without having to buy into these assets just to try it out. I can just look at retention and kind of skip all of that because let's say if 1 week you're only getting about 25 or 20% retention. What does that tell me? Truthfully, it tells me that the game's just not that fun. If only 1 in 5 people are playing after 1 week, maybe it's not the game for me. Now, and you can see as the weeks go on. So let's look at, say, this example for Star Sharks. As from December 21st, 2021 on, after about 10 months, we only got about 1% retention. um, I mean, I get it. That's a long time in this cycle, especially in this industry as well. So it's not too surprising, but still 1% after 10 months. It's not the best in my opinion. It may be better to compare more newer weeks to check out retention from there, but overall, it's not really the best. And the example we've actually using Star Sharks here, Star Sharks unfortunately hit the tokenomics death spiral, and it isn't really too much of a popular game anymore. Next, user transaction analysis. So I like to transaction analysis on a protocol can help you get a feel for the liquidity as well as knowing what sort of assets are hot. Right, comparing daily active users with transactions as well can help you gain insights on the amount of bots and overall health of an ecosystem. So I always like to compare it with one transaction per active user a day. Kind of uh, gives me a healthy feel of the ecosystem. You know, if you're signing in and doing one transaction a day, that's a good sign to me. If you're under one, that's kind of getting into a little bit of the red flag situation. And also, I consider on average maybe 4 or 5 and higher transaction on average transactions per day by a user. That's also a little bit high. That kind of raises my red flags on whether or not it's a bot or not because 4 transactions per user a day is relatively high. Um, next, I kind of want to show you guys as well. Now, if you're a game dev, what kind of data you can really harness. That's not really out there too much. That doesn't have a lot of exposure. I kind of want to show you guys some tools and data that you can use with Footprint to harness as a dev. Right? So one of these ones is a Footprint. We're releasing this Footprint GA Growth Analytics, and what this does is it combines your internal protocol data with the on-chain data that's available. So something that's really sweet that we've been able to do is create user funnels. So with this user funnel, let me click this and show you. Loads up. So with this example, you can take people that have downloaded from the app, have installed it, then your signups, link their wallet, and eligible users. Now, what's so cool about user funnels? This can really help you guys when it comes to airdrops. If you're a GameFi dev and you're looking to do airdrop, these sort of charts are super helpful because one of the biggest issues that we've noticed right now is distributing airdrops effectively to the community members that deserve them because you can see a lot of people will try to game the system for that financial incentive. So by including things like user funnels, you can really help segment and understand your users a little bit better. And this also goes for gamer profiles. Now, this is super sweet, you guys. Again, it gets me all fired up on user profiles. So what you can essentially do is you can take any address on ETH. That's a safe bet for us right now. Take any address on ETH, and you can actually break down what these users are holding. Now, why is this super sweet? Why is this super important to kind of break down what users of your game are playing? Um, because let's say, for example, again, looking back at airdrops, let's say we want to do an airdrop, but our users, say our top 100 most active users, they have a ton of NFTs they're holding. Maybe instead of doing a token airdrop just to keep retention and get our boys all fired up in the community, let's drop them an NFT instead. Or something like this, right? Also, we can see our transactions and seeing where they're kind of interacting, if they're playing some other games with this wallet as well. Kind of can give you a good idea of what your users are doing on chain. So wallet profiles are super sweet. I'm a big fan of them. I think they can give a lot of great information. Again, it also helps for segmentation. Again, I showed you the competitor comparison through the rankings, but this is also pretty sick as well. So let's do a game comparison between these two most popular games on Solana right now, Walk-In and Step-In, both coincidentally move to earn games. So let's say I want to get into move to earn. Well, I don't know if I want Step-In or Walk-In. This is a great little tool to use to compare. And clearly, as you guys can see, Step In is absolutely, or sorry, Walk In is absolutely destroying Step In when it comes to active users for a long time, and even daily transactions as well. So, to me, after looking at this, if I'm stuck between Walk In and Step In, it kind of gives me more better insights to go to step or walk in instead. And now we can do this with any kind of game on any chain. Let me get my mouse so I can do this on anything that we have indexed through Solana or Ethereum, etc., etc. All right, so that's kind of pretty sweet. And I guess too, just to hang tight before I go into the DFK analysis and dive deep, I just want to take any questions that you guys might have here. Let me take a look at the open chat. If you guys have any questions before I go into the DeFi Kingdoms deep dive, that would be great. Just so if we don't forget about it beforehand, I'd love to help you guys take any questions now to just before we do that deep dive on the actual analysis part. A couple guys typing.
Yeah, I can see that some people are typing. I also have some questions on my end, but if you're fine, let's keep it for the Q&A section at the very end.
Okay, word. I just do want, in case we get anything. For fetching on-chain data, are y'all running your own nodes on each chain? We are running our own nodes for the most part. We are using some APIs like CoinGecko. We use CoinGecko for our token prices, but for the most part, all the data we grab is off our own nodes on chain that we run. Yes, sir. All right, let's bring it in. Next, I'll get to your question as soon as we're done. But let's kind of talk about DeFi Kingdoms, right? So, um, I was at ETH Denver, and I was hanging out with the Game7 community. And there was a really great after event that you guys held, and DeFi Kingdoms was hosting a booth there, and I was talking to them, kind of getting an idea about how they're doing, how they're trying to recover after the big Harmony ordeal and what was going on. And I figured, one of the first games out there, especially for gamifying DeFi. So let's kind of do an in-depth analysis on how DeFi Kingdoms is really doing now. So just to give you kind of a start, what is DeFi Kingdoms? Cross-chain, play-to-earn game built on a strong DeFi protocol with plans to become a fully fledged MMORPG in later phases of the roadmap. Now, the game also features Decs, liquidity pool opportunities, and a market of different utility-driven NFTs. And it's currently cross-chain on DFK chain, which is an AVAX subnet, and Clayton. Now, I do have to give you guys a heads up. Now, this data is based on DFK chain data. Unfortunately, we don't have Clayton indexed right now, so I wasn't able to use that data to give you the more holistic overview. So I have to let you know that this is specifically for DFK chain. All right, so first thing, like I always do, I always start with retention rate. That's the first thing I always check, you guys. And it's actually not too bad after the first week, right? So user retention for DFK is an average about 36% after the first week of playing, and doesn't really drop that much in the weeks following, right? So about 1 to 4 people continued playing since January, which is like what were we, 4 months down the road now. That's not too bad. Truthfully, I think that's pretty sweet actually. And these indicators are looking good to me. Retention's high enough. This warrants me wanting to get a wallet, wanting to go maybe check out their NFTs and actually just take a look at it. Retention gives me all the right signs so far. Now, this is where we start to get a little bit um, not so great insights here. So for the daily active users, only hovering around 1,800. Now, truthfully, for the game being as around for as long as it has, still having over 1,000 active users is still okay per day. Now, again, this is on the DeFi Kingdoms chain, not Clayton, so I don't have the active users for Clayton. But I mean, it is high, but when we look at, say, the top 10 games out there right now, we're looking at games that have like 10,000 active users, 5,000 active users. I mean, it is high-ish in the small industry, but it's not really high enough. And then when we're looking at the new user percentage, we're getting about anywhere from 20 new users a day, less than 1% of their total active users. Um, well, not less than 1%. It's above 1%, but it's under 2%, I should say. Which is not really the best. I don't know if they're trying to focus. Now, this is where I don't know if they're trying to focus their marketing on the Clayton chain or they're trying to get away from DeFi Kingdoms or what. But 20 new users a day. It's just really not that hot, especially like checking that new user percentage. Um, and then now this is where I really want to kind of soak it in with you guys here. Looking at these transactions again, um, they have like a ton, like 16,500 average daily transactions, with an average of about 1,800 users, which is like average 9 transactions per user, which is crazy. So to give you a little bit of background here. So when I looked at this and I saw that this 9 transactions a day per user, that's insane. That is crazy high. So now I gotta take a look and kind of scale it back a little bit, and I'm taking a look at now a bit more in depth these actual users, the wallets making these transactions. Why is this so high? I'm about to tell you why it's so high. Um, Looking at the transactions of the top 1,000 active wallets in the last 90 days, um, we're getting some, like on average daily transactions, doing almost 200,000 little micro transactions. This specific wall address right here, they did 25 million transactions in 90 days. And if we're going down, we have 18 million. We have like a substantial amount of wallets doing over a million transactions in 90 days. That's insane. And looking at the top 1,000 of these wallets, none of them have been doing an under 100 transactions a day, which is crazy. It's nuts. And so we're able to determine that these users are bots. They're actually running a botting system, and they're being active within the protocol on average from anywhere from 20 to 24 hours a day. They have this bot running to go and gamify or just streamline their whole DeFi kingdom setup. They're essentially what they're doing is they're treating it more like a DeFi protocol than anything to do with the game, right? They're just streamlining everything, run it, I don't care, we're not checking. So, and doing some quick research as well, you guys, um, on GitHub, it's really easy to find some programs that you can connect your NFT to, and they can just run your whole DFK experience. Um, I didn't want to link them, but I don't want to. I don't want to show you guys. I don't want to enable it, but it's quite easy to find these. Which just overall really crazy to me. So like kind of giving you my overall conclusion. So initially looking at DeFi Kingdoms, the game's unique JRPG feel paired with DeFi mechanics is attractive and catches the interest of people looking to have a bit more fun than traditional DeFi, right? Retention is sitting around the 25% average, which is decent. But these 25% of users are more likely, with this retention, there are more likely bots. Um, and the active users are again relatively low. And looking at the top 1,000 active users on or wallets on DFK chain, looks like those guys are also more than likely bots. And then two, looking at the active users and the new user trends that barely hits 2% a day. It's just not really the best for me. But DFK, it's not something that I'm looking forward to playing. But if you like DeFi, right, and if you're okay with, getting a bot set up for your account, because if you're going to start small with DFK, you're really going to fall behind, especially when bots are running. Um, if you want to kind of keep up with the whales, this is kind of what you're going to have to do, kind of the baseline standard of the game. You're going to have to bot it out. Um, so that's kind of my recommendation. Worth checking it out. But if you're going to start small, I don't really think you're going to have the best time. You're going to kind of fall behind and not really make the best returns. So that's kind of my final thoughts here. If you're looking to change up and have more fun with DeFi and like to mess with bots, then DFK is right for you. But if you're less concerned about ROI and looking for something more fun, I definitely recommend something else. That's kind of my overall analysis and thoughts of DFK. And truthfully, too, is there an automatic setting to detect bot activity for more accurate data behind gameplay and users? Jun Kim, this is this is a good question because a lot of times find bots, you can't really use just strictly on-chain data. What we have to do is you have to use a little bit of your internal connections, right? And looking with I guess the first step is you have to identify your ideal active user, and then once you've identified your ideal active user, you need to determine if your ideal active user meets the parameters of a bot. And then once you do that, you have to find out your ideal human user, and then kind of base your metrics around that. So we're working on something at Footprint right now to kind of make it easier for bot detection, but there's nothing really um, set in stone that can 100% do it off the rip, especially just through on-chain data. Um, and absolutely agree about what you're saying with DeFi here. If you like those JRPGs, great pixel games, and you want to kind of have more fun with DeFi, great play. I think DeFi Kingdoms is a great place to start out, but it is definitely important to know that you're probably not going to be making the best returns unless you're going all in. And yeah, that's kind of my conclusion. So next with you guys, so RK asks, how is Footprint different from Dune? That kind of just goes right into my demo section. So let me just answer that question by showing you. So let's go right to our homepage, for example. So we just got our um, new landing page, which is sweet, talking about our API and everything like this. But let's hit it with our analytics app. I kind of wanted to show you guys why we're really dope and what really separates us from Dune. So, let's just in the spirit of GameFi, um, take a look here and let me go by date because I know we just got a cool little dashboard um, going. So let's take a look at Planet 9, for example. Um, let's say that taking a look at it in depth for weekly picks trades. This is one of the big differences from us and Dune is let's say you're like, okay, I like how this dashboard is made. I don't really give a crap about picks. I want to use another metric, but I want to use this style of dashboard. Let's just preview it. Let me sign in here. There we go. So let me preview. This is nice because this shows me the logic of how this graph was made or how this chart was made. So if I'm like stuck on how to make a chart, I can always reference other examples and kind of change where I need to change. So another great example is let's go back. Let's just say I'm into Planet 9 anyways, and I just want this dashboard. I can just duplicate it and copy it, and boom, it's mine. I can add it to any dashboard now. Now let's kind of go back to actually canceling this. Yes. Let's go to create. So we can actually do two things. So this is the biggest difference now, RK, between Footprint and Dune. Um, is we have this zero coding option right here. So you can see that we have new chart or SQL query. At Dune, you'd only be able to use SQL queries. So what does this new chart do? Let me show you. Get rid of all these tabs. So here you can kind of see all the data on the left side that we have indexed, right? And what's in each section here, right? So for example, let's talk about GameFi protocol daily stats. This tells you the volume, transaction numbers, and let's see, the protocol active addresses, protocol daily stats. So another good one if let's say you're confused on what each category has, we can go by right here. So this category has number of transactions and number of active users. So what's really sweet is let's just make a quick chart. How about I filter it? Actually, don't filter it. Don't. The easiest way to do it, guys, believe it or not, the easiest way is actually just going straight to advanced. Um, so also Arthur, what's available for free users versus paying? I'll get to that in just a second as soon as I'm done this chart. So first thing, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna filter it by protocol name. I have a big bag of Splinterlands, so let me take a look at Splinterlands. Add filter. Now, again, I know Splinterlands also has a bad bot issue as well, but let me just summarize it by the sum of number of active users by the date, and instead of by month, I don't really care about by month, I care about by day. Visualize. And bang, I don't know what happened here. Not so hot, but you can see now we have the active users of Splinterlands by day ever since 2018. Now, let me kind of not do this by all time. Let's do the previous 6 months. Holy, this is everywhere. I kind of don't like how this is looking. Let me go back to visualize. So I can make this a bar. I can make this a line. I can make this an area. You know, there's a lot of different kind of options on my visualization. I think bar kind of looks the best. I don't really like this green. A little bit too bright for me. Let's just keep it with a, oof, I don't know, that's a little bit too blue. There we go, a little bit easier on my eyes. And then I can also change up and add goal lines if I want. So let's say I want to know when people are there's over, say, 100,000 active users a day. I can set a goal line for that, trend lines, and I can also add data points as well, just for a little other visualization options. So let's save it. Um, Let me not make that Splinterlands dashboard. Splinterlands active users. Save it. Add to a chart. Let me make a new dashboard for you guys just for this example. Call it Splinterlands times 4 since I've done this a lot. Times 4. So here's my Splinterlands times 4 dashboard. Let's edit it, add my chart. Just add this chart I just made. Bada bing, bada boom. I got it here. Now this is something that's sick, and this is gonna save you guys a ton of time if you like to do analysis. I want more Splinterlands charts, so let's take a look at our community charts. Because if they have a table or a chart that you're already looking to grab, I mean, it's going to be the same data anyways as if you make it yourself or if you take it from somebody else's. So let's do transaction trend if this one. There you go. We can also do transactions trend. Let's see. Volume. I think this chart is not so hot, so I'm going to get rid of this. Anyways, that just kind of gives you an example. All these community charts, if you guys want to take them and use them. And you can also add stuff like text boxes, images, videos. So you can add stuff like God, GIFs. I need to make sure I say it right. Videos, text boxes, anything really to kind of make your dashboard more personalized and your own. So again, just to show you an example of another dashboard that I made that's a lot nicer. I made this Dogecoin dashboard because I'm a big fan of Dogecoin. Under 8 cents. I'm a big fan of Dogecoin. But this can kind of show you an example. I said it wrong. Damn. I knew it. I knew I was saying it wrong, boys. I knew it. I knew it. Gifts. There we go. God. God. But yeah, so here's an example of some of the text boxes I added, some pictures, trend lines, etc., etc. So this can really give you, um, just kind of have some fun. I'm adding some memes, just kind of having some fun with my dashboards. So that's just kind of this, you guys, is my demo. All right, you guys got my footprint analytics demo. Now, before I go and I just talk more charts, I want to also show you guys we have some really sweet articles, guys. Really sweet articles. So you can actually take a look at some of our games that we are, some of our GameFi articles that we wrote, NFTs, etc., etc. And we also have some cool learning courses as well. So that's in under our Learn section, under our docs, and you guys can learn a lot of cool things. Web3, for example, I like this article because I helped write this one. Web3 Gaming, Gaming Analytics on ARB. Actually, one game on ARB, believe it or not, you guys, I can't believe this was so still possible. But I like 300 times my investment on this game on ARB. I didn't know that was still possible. It happened like last week. I couldn't believe it, you guys. Crazy. I know. Anyway, so let me kind of rolling up here. We got a ton of questions, and I gotta get to them. So Nexonic says, question one: how do you account for different game infrastructures being reflected in on-chain numbers? Example: fully on-chain game could easily result in players making more than 4 transactions a day, while a game that has its marketplace on-chain might see less activity. Um, Now this is actually a good question. So now I guess this is also something where it can be looking at the game, right? So a lot of games, now this would be on a game by game basis too. So I guess it's something to keep an eye out, like you said. So like you said, because there's some games that require you to check in, and stuff like that. And check-in also can count as a transaction as well. And sometimes you got to do a couple check-ins, or you can get a quest. If you complete a quest, you got to check in again. That can also kind of count as a transaction. Um, so how do we account for this right now? I guess this is on your own personal, because all these transactions and stuff will get reflected on chain, but you kind of have to use a little bit of what's going down with it, right? Like I said, that's why I said a good baseline is on average one transaction a day per user. That's why I say the biggest red flag is under one transaction per user a day. Anything above is kind of okay, but just kind of use some common sense as well. So if there, some of them are um, unnaturally high, for example, like with the DFK there. And then we found out that they got bots running 24 hours a day to make these transactions possible. Kind of puts it into perspective a little bit. Now, question two: did you notice any practices that should be embraced slash avoided for the game to stay relevant after a month? Um, Now this is gonna sound. I think this is the number one, and you guys have all heard this, and you guys are probably sick of hearing it. But definitely make sure the game is fun. And then two, tokenomics is pretty crazy. So one of the biggest red flags for me is single tokenomic games. There's just no way that they're sustainable. And even dual tokenomic games aren't the most sustainable either. So that could be something I'd look at via the tokenomics to make sure that if that's sustainable, I could do a whole nother workshop on the different versions of tokenomics right now, but that's kind of like the biggest red flags as well. Single tokenomic systems and dual tokenomic systems. Um, and again, another thing that I've noticed for games just to be staying relevant for a month is I guess just kind of listen to your community, right? But this is another one where retention rate can come right back into it, right? So let's say that, you know, because keep games fresh, there's always patches, changes, updates, whatever. Um, if you can notice after a bad patch how bad retention will fall of a game right away. And I think devs need to pay more attention to this sort of stuff and listen to the community a bit more so that they can make these changes that the people actually like. So I guess that's kind of my question for this. I think more people need to listen to the community, and I also think another trend that I've been noticing now is a lot. It's not so much pay to earn right now. It's like pay and earn, where more of the earnings on the kind of in the background, right? So you're making such minuscule rewards that you feel more likely, or you're way happier to invest these rewards right back into the game. And you're not like, for like something that wasn't crazy was I got stepping back in the hype, man. I had a shoe. I paid $1,300 for this shoe. I was making $40 a day for running 10 minutes. That, and then what happened a month later? Stepping crashed and burned. This is not sustainable. Is not sustainable at all. Um, so I hope. And then question three: did you notice any correlation between games, assets, token performance, and player churn? That's a good question. Um, Generally, not really. Let's take a look. So I like to use binary X as a great example of token price compared with users because they really screwed the pooch. Um, do one that I did make. I made this. Let me see. Let me find a binary X dashboard. Here we go. Token price versus active users. This is a great chart. We could do this since February. But if we look in at active users, we can see active users started to go up with binary X, but still their token price like went down. Let's see here. Token price. What is this at? Or sorry, I had the wrong one. Active users. So let's take a look at this one, for example. On March 2nd, high active users 7,300. Token price dropping, man. It was dropping heavy. So again, I guess it doesn't necessarily correlate between the higher active users, the higher the token price is going to be. I guess it really depends about what kind of value we're extracting from those users and how we're returning that value back to the community. And having active users does not necessarily mean we're extracting value out of those users as well. All right, next question. Is there an automatic setting? I answered this one. We don't really have an automatic setting for this. How is Footprint different from Dune? We have a ton more chains. We also have that zero coding option. And we're doing stuff like that Footprint Growth Analytics, which is like a Web3 CRM and stuff like this. And we're really focusing big difference on NFT data as well as gaming data. We're trying to really separate from the packs of other data providers, especially Dune, and have more comprehensive NFT and gaming data. All right. Arthur Zablocky, what's available to free users versus paying users? All right, let me hit you up with that. So at Footprint, it's free. You can sign up for free. You get a 1G data limit query. You can upload 5 sets of data, and this is kind of what you get access to. So the biggest difference between saying paying for our front end for the free is you get a lot more data. You get unlimited uploads. You can access our API. But here's the big one. You get access to the full history data, the full historical data. So that means if you guys want to check out addresses that have interacted with a specific protocol over the past 6 months or 8 months, which will take a ton of data, a ton of time, the business account is definitely right for you. You won't be able to do that, say, with our free account. As well as you get rid of um, watermarks and stuff like that. Let's bring it back. Question: what is your opinion regarding established studios that aim to venture into Web3 gaming but do not want to disclose their in-game transaction data to the public? Um, Delroy, good question. Truthfully, my biggest recommendation for traditional gaming studios that want to break into anything on chain, I recommend they go with infrastructure protocols like Stardust or Alchemy. And truthfully, I think infrastructure protocols are a great thing because I think it really puts the heat and really puts the pressure on these protocols that are making the game, doing the tokenomics, doing everything themselves. I really think it puts the pressure on them to actually do it good. And because with the infrastructure protocol, well, all right, we'll just let them do everything on chain while we let the studio focus on making a good game, right? Let's let the game studio do what they're good at, which is making the game, and let's let the infrastructure protocol get them on chain, what they're good at, right? So now I think with seeing these two pieces come together, I think it's really going to put the heat on these studios trying to trying to do it all, and it'll force them to do better and make sure that they're really releasing a good game, or they're just gonna fall behind, right? And they're gonna be wishing that they bought an infrastructure protocol to get it done. So GIF. All right. All right. Zomglings, thanks for showing up, buddy. I'm happy you came by. I don't know if you're still here, but thanks. So how many chains are we supporting so far? We're supporting 25 chains. You want to see what chains we're supporting? Let me just go back down. All these guys right here. We just added Homeverse, which is out of Japan. Also, if you guys haven't checked out Oasis Chain or have heard of Oasis Chain, definitely something to take a look at. Oasis is sweet. They're essentially the Japanese gaming chain. So they partnered with Sega. They partnered with Square Enix and Bandai Co. as well, which is just crazy. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. The minute I see a Final Fantasy game on chain, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my mind. Um, so let's see here. Are you planning to support more chains in the future? Especially interested in the internet computer. So you mean IoTeX? If you mean, I have IoTeX already indexed, but SWE now. So here's the thing: when it comes to indexing chains, we can do them relatively quick as long as these chains are EVM, right? We can get it. We can get a chain done full history with like within a week. Now, chains like Solana, for example, holy smokes, Solana is a pain in the ass. It took us like 3 months to get that chain indexed, just because there was so much fluff, and it's a different approach. So the same thing can be said for chains like Sui or Aptos, right? These different language chains, they take a little bit longer for us to index. So if we have a bigger demand and a lot of the community members want Sui and Aptos, absolutely, we can put it on the pipeline of things to get done, but not right now, not really. We not It's not really something we're looking to add right now. Our big focus is on kind of growing the data that we do have, right? With these 25 chains, how much more in depth can we go with them? All right, Sid is saying so. Footprint is a meta-based implementation with the chain such on games. Yes, that is exactly correct. Bang, Sid, you hit the nail on the head, buddy. Let's go. Boom. All right. Arthur says we need to advance the fun criteria into continuously fun. For me, it's expectations. Playing to earn money, unless you're blatantly gambling, just cannot last. 100%. Great. I 100% agree with that. Absolutely. So, who is preparing the dashboards as graphs? Do you mind? Do you do this, or are users able to do this? And so, any dashboard that you make, unless you specifically try to make it private or make it private, is available for every user at Footprint to grab. Our aim is to be that um, open source Google Analytics of crypto, right? We want everyone to come in there, take this data, and we all kind of want to grow together. At the end of the day, our goal is we want analysts to use Footprint and actually monetize their insights that they make with our platform. That's kind of our end goal. Really be open source and for the community. Number two, considering dozens of companies that do chain analysis, what triggered the creation of Footprint? In other words, why did you guys make this? I think that would be a better question for Tony. I have a good idea about why we started it, but I can't give you the exact answer. Um, why did we do it? Well, Tony, I can give you a little example of why Tony probably went on chain. Our co-founder. So back in the day, he had this business in China. It was a lending business called Qual Finance. Doing great, doing amazing. And then the government came down by and said, "Hey, look, you're doing too good. We're shutting you down." And so for Tony, I guess the next logical step was decentralization. And since he's kind of been a data guy for his whole life, this was kind of something that he wanted to do. Kind of realized that, getting this on-chain data isn't really that easy, especially when there's a huge barrier of entry of having to know SQL to pull it. So um, kind of, I guess that's kind of Tony's background of why he started and why he kind of got into it. But I can't give you the full answer since unfortunately I'm not a founder. I'm not a founder. All right. Next one. Do you work with games themselves in any way? Yes, great question. So remember this dashboard that I showed you guys right here, Planet IX. Let me not do that one. Let's find the actual Planet 9 one by date. So this dashboard, we worked really closely with Planet Nine. This is actually just a demo of our dark mode as well. Typically, you don't get to see charts looking this good right now. Okay, we're really working on the dark mode right now. But what is happening is Planet Nine is actually going to implement all of these dashboards because all of our charts are widget compatible. So they're putting them right into their website. Another example is let's go to walk-in. If I go to walk-in, you can see right here, powered by Footprint. So right there, we implemented all of our data right for walk-in on their website, and we helped them create their charts, harness their data. You know, Arthur, you are in the minority with that one, buddy. I've been having community members tearing my head off for not having a dark mode yet. But yeah, so you can see this is kind of the different ways. We just help protocols harness their data better and get them set up on a nice dashboard that they always have access to, essentially. That's how we work with protocols a lot. And as a heads up too, a little alpha we're dropping. We're using our Footprint GA and we're working with Mochaverse right now by Animoca, and we're implementing with them, trying to because what we're doing with them is we're doing live mint monitoring for their airdrops. So we're helping them segment their users, so they can give the airdrops to the actual community members that deserve them. Like I said earlier, it's kind of a big thing for me. I yeah. To avoid bot traffic. I guess what they're trying to do is they're trying to avoid just addresses that are trying to gamify, or they're also trying to avoid Sybil attacks as well. I don't know how familiar you guys are with Sybil attacks, but another really cool article, if you guys are interested, is we did a trusted report by using AI and on-chain data to help detect Sybil attacks, which is super cool. Anyways, that's kind of it. For I've taken a couple of questions. I got 5 minutes left, so I'll pass it over to Nej here. Kind of do any kind of final thoughts and wrapping it up here. Anything we need to do in the last five?
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Was definitely very exciting uh, call to witness. I think you really are able to hold the attention well. So good job there. I do have another question, just from the very start when you were talking about the the ways of understanding the amount of bots a game has, and you mentioned a essentially number one of transaction a day, on average a day being a healthy number that shows non-bot traffic, and then on the other hand, like 4 to 5 transactions on average stands out to you. So you did kind of partly answer that, I think, in a later question where it was talking about like different game models have different um, average transactions, of course, right? But still, like, what's the logical explanation to saying that on average one transaction a day is healthy and 4 to 5 kind of stand out that it could be bot traffic?
Okay. So for me, like, my biggest point that I want to make too is that it's more concerning to have under one transaction a day per user than it is to have one or above. Again, too, like I was saying, it's really kind of important to kind of look at the the aspects of gameplay and what kind of needs to be done, whether there's quests or check-ins, because each quest and check-in can count as a transaction. Now, um, so it's kind of take a look at that and based on what kind of gameplay mechanics and check-ins. So let's say that I can easily do 5 check-ins a day in the game, then that's fine. But let's say again now all of a sudden someone's doing like 15 or something like that, 3 times what's kind of average on the quest and stuff like that. Maybe that will stand out to me as well. I'm just kind of looking for irregularities. There we go. Kind of standing out of the data, right? Like for example, when we pulled up the DFK, we had that one address doing like 25 million transactions. It was like average. It was doing like every 3 seconds. It was doing a transaction. Stuff like that is kind of where the outliers that I'm kind of looking for there. I hope I hope that kind of answers your question there, Nej.
Yeah, for sure it does. And you did expand on it earlier as well. So
Mhm,
thanks
mhm.
for that. Now, do we have any other questions? Otherwise, we will be closing the Q&A. I think we did answer quite a lot. I see that Arthur is okay.
Oh, Arthur, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, I
Mhm.
love this community, you guys. I've never answered so many questions in a Q&A section before on a workshop. So that's amazing, you guys. I appreciate it. Jun Kim, I appreciate that as well, buddy. Let's go. Let's go. And yeah, like I said, this call. I've been looking forward to this call all week, you guys. I have two Game 7 shirts chilling right now. I got the one from Berkeley and I got the one from Denver. I'm rocking your guys' swag almost every day at the gym. So let's go, man. Keep it. Also, what's up with that? You guys did a collaboration on Champion with your guys' shirts. Let's go. Let's go. That's so sick.
Yeah, that was definitely bumped up.
Yeah,
Very cool to
man. I
hear.
and two, I
Thank
gotta, I
thank you
gotta,
for
I
this.
gotta say one more thing. What I love about your shirts is when I'm wearing them at the gym, guys, makes me look absolutely massive. So that's another plus as well. Let's go.
Yeah, well, maybe the game in game sound stands for gains.
Yeah,
So
that's.
yeah.
Where do we get these T-shirts? RK, man, you gotta be showing up to some of these conferences, my friend. They are. I don't let me get you guys too hyped up, but they are sick. These shirts are dope.
Yeah, send some pictures in the chat, man.
Dang, I
Well,
know. I was
cool.
supposed to be at NFT NYC. I would have been grabbing my third Game 7 shirt.
Yeah, you gotta get to 7. You gotta get this to 7. That's the magical number.
Exactly. If I get to 7, I'll put them on the walls. I'll display them on the wall.
Yeah. Well, Alex, I want to thank you for this very cool talk. Again, you really are able to draw the attention. Seems that the chat loved it.
Good. I'm
So thank you
glad.
again.
Hey, thanks
Yeah,
for having me,
we'll
you guys.
be of course, man, of course. We'll be posting a recap with kind of some takeaways from this call later today or tomorrow. The recording will also be included for anyone who missed out at the start or something. So yeah, with that, I want to thank Alex and of course the Footprint Analytics team for putting this together. Perhaps it's not the only community call you guys will do. I know you're able to do them on many different topics, so that's definitely an option. We'll see how that works in the future. And yeah, thank you for doing this. Thank you for everyone who listened in. I hope that it was insightful. I think I learned quite some things myself. It was especially cool to see the DFK analysis kind of done live. And yeah, with that, Alex, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I just want to say thank you for everybody that stuck around for this whole hour, listened to me talk. Without you guys, I'd be rambling to myself. So that's great. And I really, if you guys are open to more community calls, I'm all about it, baby. Let's go. Yeah, like I said, love this community, and I love to share everything that I know, data-wise, anything that I can do to help you guys out, make better, find better games, make better decisions in your games, whatever it be. I'm down. I'm down to help you guys out and share. So let's go.
Yeah, thank you, Alex.
All right, thanks,
Okay,
guys.
so we'll be closing it with that. Thanks for being here.